My wife and I recently did a backpacking trip in the Grand Canyon. We hiked down to the Bright Angel, the campground, spent a night down there, hiked back up. It was an incredible trip. If you didn't see the video, I'm gonna put a link in the description or a card up here or something so you can check it out. But in this video, I'm gonna do kind of a commentary over the video. It's a new style I'm experimenting with, so let me know if you guys like it. Hopefully it'll provide a little bit more insight into the hike, because the last film was just a silent film. And I made it that way because I just wanted to focus on the scenery. I didn't want to do any vlogging or any talking. I've always kind of found that a little bit annoying in videos, especially videos that are really about the scenery. So in this video, this is just going to be me commenting on the hike and just giving you guys just my thought process and, you know, just what I thought about it. So let's get started. So we actually stayed at a lodge that was in the park, and it was great because it was right next to the Bright Angel trailhead, but we had to have a friend drive us to the South Kaibab trailhead, which was gonna add miles onto the hike that we obviously didn't want to do. So thank you, Jack, for that. It was a beautiful day. We did this hike in February. So right now, I mean, you can see there's snow on the ground and stuff, but I want to say it was like mid to upper 40s. Not cold, but certainly cool. All of our gear we rented from the outfitter that was in the park. There's like one general store there, and they have the gear. So we got the backpack, the tents, the sleeping pad, the trekking poles, and that's it. I mean, the packs with everything in them, probably with the clothes and the water, probably weighed close to 25 or 30 pounds. You can see my wife, she is bringing the tent down. I brought the tent back up. So there weren't too many people on the trail. You know, this time of year, the off season, there's generally less people, but we did meet some very cool people, which I'll talk about more later in the video. So this is the first lookout that you're gonna reach on the South Kaibab, the Ooh-Ah Point. This would make for just a great day hike in itself, especially during the summer. Not too far down, it gives you an incredible view of the canyon. And honestly, the canyon, you really need to go down in it a little bit to just kind of appreciate it. Walking along the rim is cool, but as soon as you start to go down, it just takes on a completely different light. Just a completely beautiful, clear day. Couldn't ask for anything else. Sun was out, it was perfect. So one of the reasons we decided to do the South Kaibab trail was because it's steeper going down and it gets more sun. So you're gonna have less ice there in the winter, and it's not gonna, and going down the steeper trail to begin with is better in my mind. It's a little shorter than the Bright Angel trail by about maybe 2 miles, but you know, we didn't want to hike back up because it was just super steep. So I shot this entire video on my iPhone 12 Pro, and I had a little tripod that I brought with me. I wanted to use my Sony, but the camera and the lens just added too much weight. So I decided to go with the iPhone, and I thought all things considered it came out pretty good. So that's the first rest point at Cedar Ridge, which is a nice little plateau, gives you even better views of the canyon. So there are a couple hikers we saw, nice friendly guys from California. They were actually spending a couple days in the canyon, which in retrospect probably would have been a better idea than what we were doing, but you live, you learn. Very, very calm, no wind, tons of ravens on the trail. You're gonna see these guys everywhere. They're totally used to humans. Don't leave your food out because they're very friendly and they get pretty close. So as we started to descend into the canyon, it started to get warmer. We're still wearing our coats right now. We're gonna take them off soon, but you can definitely feel the temperature start to drop a little bit. It was actually a little bit colder than it normally is in February. We found out there was a cold front that was coming through that sort of lowered the temperatures, generally speaking, by about 10 or 15 degrees. But as I said, the more you go down, the warmer it's gonna get. So whatever you do, always important to dress in layers when you're going to these places. Don't wear a super heavy coat, just something that you can take off in the event that you start to get warmer, which you inevitably will. You don't want like a huge winter coat, maybe just a puffer, and then just something that you can layer up. So this part of the hike is all good. It was pretty flat once you just get down that initial decline. This is the second point, the second stop, called Skeleton Point. I think this is about, I want to say this is 3 miles out. So if you want to do Skeleton Point and back, you're looking at about 6 miles. On a previous trip during the summer, that's as far as we came because it was just too hot, and we started late in the day, and that's about as far as we could comfortably go. But we saw a lot of hikers coming to this point and then turning around. So Skeleton Point is a great place to go if you're just looking for a quick day hike. Now they do have mules here, and I just want to talk about this for a second. So you're gonna see a lot of these mules on the trail, and you can ride them down to the bottom if you want. I personally don't do that, just because if you've never sat on a horse, sitting on a horse for a couple hours is not the most comfortable thing, and you kind of have to get used to it. So I rode a horse a couple times. I personally didn't like that. So I knew riding the mule wasn't for me, but you can do it. A lot of people do opt to take the mule down, and you can see they have their they have bags on them. I learned this after the fact, but for $80, you can actually have them bring a duffel bag down to the bottom, and for another $80, they can bring a duffel bag back up. So if you're gonna be doing some hiking or backpacking in there and you don't wanna carry your stuff, you can have the mule do it. And I just wanna give a shout out to the mule wrangler extraordinaire, Lisa Tex Parker, good friend of ours who works at the canyon, gave us a bunch of great tips, and an avid hiker, actually hiked the Appalachian Trail in its completion. I will put a link to her YouTube channel in the description. Definitely check it out. Thanks, Lisa. So we just took a break here. Nice lookout just to relax, have some snacks. And then now we're beginning our next descent into the canyon, and you can see some of the switchbacks that you have to take to go down there. There's our first glimpse of the Colorado River. You can see it there in the corner. You'll be able to, if you go to Skeleton Point, that's where you'll actually be able to see the river, at least from the South Kaibab side. I think if you go up to Hermit's Rest or Hermit's Trail towards the other end of the park, you can actually see it. But if you're in the South Kaibab area, you need to go to Skeleton Point. So my wife is just sitting there checking out the views. Don't blame her. And by this point, there's not going to be any permafrost on the ground. That's really just in the upper couple hundred feet of the canyon. The trekking poles are always clutch. They just take a lot of pressure off your legs. So this is the next stop, or the next rest house. I think it's called the tip-off before you finally go into that final leg. So we're about 4.5 miles-ish in 3 hours. So granted, this is taking a little bit longer because obviously I have to set up all these shots, go back and get the camera, but I don't think it added a ton of mileage or time, just a little bit here and there. So interestingly, at this point, it was kind of windy over here. Nothing crazy, but we definitely noticed a little bit more wind. And of course, a nice little house to catch some shade, take your shoes off for a second. There was another hiker sitting here that we were chatting with, a nice guy, doing some backpacking too. So there's another incredible view of the Colorado River. So I also had a 360 camera on with me, a Insta360 1R, and I was doing some of these types of shots. It was my first time using the camera. It was cool. I think I rented one, but I think I would purchase one. They're cool to have. Another great view of the Colorado River, and now we're really just getting into the bottom of the canyon. We're getting ready to begin that final descent I guess hence the name Tip Off. And I can't remember the name of that bridge. I'll put it on the screen. I think it's the black suspension bridge. There's a name for it though, but it's the black one. And there was a bunch of switchbacks here and some cool trails. I didn't film them. My wife's knee was actually starting to bother her, so we just kind of wanted to get down there. But there's some cool switchbacks there that I think you guys will enjoy if you do this hike. So once you go through the tunnel, you come out on the other side, and they have this plank in the middle. That's for the mules to walk on, so they have a nice surface. And we're just about at camp right now. We just have to wind around a little bit, and then we will be at the Bright Angel Campground. Natural Kaibab Trail Suspension Bridge, okay. So you have you can keep going to the Bright Angel Trail, or you can go to the campground. And once you get down here, you can choose whatever site you want. You have to make sure you have a permit. Some sites are geared for just one tent, others are geared for a little bit more, so you have to choose depending on that. They give you these, pause it here for a second, they give you these, at the sites, all sites are gonna have the food box, a bench, and then this pole in the background, which is where you hang your bags. During the summer especially, there's a lot of birds and squirrels that will just chew right through your bag. So basically what you have to do is take everything out that has an odor to it. So that could be food, soap, lotion, anything that has a scent goes in this box. I mean, we just ended up putting all of our stuff in that box because they want you to open up the bottom of your bag so that the squirrels and the mice can sort of crawl through, because if they can't actually go through the bag easily, they're just going to chew through it. So you open up the bag, you put your stuff in here, and then you just let it hang there. And any other valuables or anything, I guess, that you want to keep warm, you can bring in the tent. So I brought my cell phone, my batteries, things like that. I just put in a bag and put it in my sleeping bag so it would stay warm. But yeah, it was really nice that they had these benches here, because it's just always nice to sit. Not all campgrounds have those. And this is the tent we rented, just a two-person tent, nothing special. And if you walk about half mile up the trail, it brings you to Phantom Ranch, where we had our food reservation. That's the Bright Angel Creek, by the way. So these people were lined up for the early dinner, which was the steak dinner. We were on the later dinner, which was the stew. It was very good. It was so nice to have a hot cooked meal. And it was good. It was like $50, or I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen. So it was fairly cold that night. You can see me bundled up. And normally when you get into the canyon, we were anticipating temperatures of around like maybe 50s at night. But like I said, with this cold front that came through, it was like in the teens, maybe even lower. And there was a group of gentlemen that we met on the trail who were avid hikers and been coming to the Grand Canyon for, I think, 8 years, they were saying, him and his buddy. And he said this is the first year that they did not hike down in shorts. So just our luck that it was freezing. So, but that's just how it goes. Weather is unpredictable. So it's pretty early right now. Maybe 8:30. After we packed up, we went and had our breakfast, which was good. So we got the 2 stew dinners and the 2 breakfasts for $150. So just to put into perspective for you. Yeah, so now we're taking the Bright Angel Trail up, which isn't as steep. Both trails are honestly so beautiful. You can't go wrong taking either one. But it just depends, like I said, what you want to do, whether you want to do the South Kaibab first or last, because it is a little bit steeper. It gets more sun. So like I said, we opted to take the less steep trail out. But whether you take the Bright Angel or the South Kaibab, that last 2 or 3 miles coming out is gonna be, you know, tons of switchbacks, and it's gonna be hard, so just keep that in mind. So you can see both bridges here. A lot of huge boulders down there. Now they do fly helicopters in, and the helicopters are for the construction crew, because some of the engineers don't want to hike. And they do have helicopters if you do get injured. I think Lisa was telling us, pause it here, Lisa was telling us there are 3 helicopters that the park has, and if those helicopters are not available, then you have to hire a third party, and that's when it can get crazy expensive. So go to the canyon, have fun, just know your limits, don't hurt yourself. This is just a little rest house, and I took a walk down to the river. Man, the Colorado River is super powerful. Do not go in it, just look. So there was this cool creek here, or stream, I'm not sure what it was called, but it kind of ran up once you started moving away from the Colorado River. And they do recommend that you bring an extra set of clothes, and I think in the winter that's super important, just in case you slip and fall on your ass in the creek, you at least have some spare clothes, or if you get wet, weather obviously. It just adds more weight to the experience. You know, by the time you have your food, your water, your pack, all that stuff. And, you know, the gear that they use, or the gear that they rent out at this outfitter is not lightweight gear. It's pretty heavy, pretty durable gear. And we learned that they do this because they obviously rent the gear out, and the lightweight gear is not as durable. So if you're gonna rent from the outfitter at the canyon, just know that it's not lightweight gear, it's heavy gear, and it's gonna take its toll on you. I used to kind of never understand why hikers would want the lightweight gear. Oh, a pound here, a pound there, big deal. But after doing this trail, I totally get it. It does make a difference. So here, these people, well, you saw it, but those are the people who are doing the guided tour down to the bottom, riding the mules. I think I'm starting to get a little bit of a limp going there. I started to feel it on my knee. I mean, we were trucking hard. And we're healthy, we're active, we're fit, but if you're not used to carrying a pack on your back like that, especially a pack that weighs 25 or 30 pounds, it just really starts to add up. So definitely lightweight gear next time. And we were always taking a lot of breaks, just stopping, having snacks. So here's Indian Garden. This is a campground that is on the halfway point in the Bright Angel Trail. And in retrospect, it would have made a lot of sense to stay here for the night. Just to give ourselves a chance to rest and have more energy to hike back up. I don't know why we didn't do it, but we didn't. But if we ever do the trail again, I think it would be cool to stay there and just not kill yourself when you're trying to get out. And of course, you do need a permit. So yeah, it was just mid-50s when we were hiking out. So we're at the halfway point. The Bright Angel Trail is, I think, around 9 or 10 miles from the Bright Angel campground. So Indian Garden is the halfway point. Yeah, I'm definitely starting to feel it right now. So this is the 3-mile rest house, and just another great place to stop and hang out here. And by this point, we saw a lot of hikers on the trail. Obviously, I'm doing my best to avoid them and not show them in the video. Yeah, there you go. You know she's been hiking when she has a hole in a pair of brand new socks. So this is the final stretch out. And when we were hiking down, we actually saw some hikers who were hiking to the bottom and the top in one shot. And they say don't do that. And sure enough, when the guy was hiking back up, he was at the 3-mile rest house. And he almost had to get pulled out of there. He did not look like he was in good shape. A guy maybe in his late 50s, but he did it. This is the next rest house that's up there. I think this is the 1.5 mile rest house, I want to say. And by this time I was super tired, so I wasn't doing as much filming as I wanted to, and my knee started to bother me, so I kind of just wanted to just finish. You can definitely see the limp there. It was my right knee that was really starting to get to me. And there's a lot more snow on this part of the trail just because the Bright Angel doesn't get as much sun as the South Kaibab Trail. So a lot more permafrost, you know, probably a good idea to have some micro spikes. We had them, but we didn't use them, at least on this part. Yep, limp going strong right there. But we did it. We got out, and it was incredible. This trip really opened up my eyes to a lot of, I mean, just the whole idea of backpacking. You know, before we had generally done car camping or just camping, but you know, driving up to your campsite, having your car there, and then, you know, it made me think you're basically limited to how far you can walk from your car in one day and then back to your car. So you're always kind of limited in that regard, but with backpacking, it really allows you to see so many different parts of the backcountry that you would never get to see because you're not reliant just on how far you can walk from your campsite and then obviously back that night. So I'm hoping in the future to make a lot more videos around backpacking, because I'm just super psyched on it, and it seems really cool, and I want to give it a shot. Just because you can see more of these places that most people normally wouldn't see, because like I said, you're limited by how far you can walk away from your car. All right, so that is it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some insight into backpacking, gave you some tips and tricks. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you have any tips for me, like I said, this is my first time backpacking, and I just want to kind of learn more about this. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Thanks for subscribing. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel a lot. And I also have a Patreon channel. I'll put a link to that in the description. It's not really any memberships. It's really just any donations that you want to make. And every donation will help me make more videos like this. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and see ya on the next one.